Welcome to another episode of Exercise of the Week. This week I wanted to go over kettlebell swings. So I love this move because it works all the muscles on the posterior side of you. As well, it gets your heart rate up really good. And it's a great way to work on increasing your power. However, I find a lot of people have a misconception on how to do them and perform them improperly. And that can be bad because one, you're not going to be able to do as much weight or work as hard as you could. And two, you're more likely you're going to get an injury or pain. So as usual, I'll talk you through the move as I'm doing it. I'll show you a few different variations on it. And then afterwards, I'll come back to touch on a few key points that I want you to keep in mind as you're doing it.
So a kettlebell swing is just like a deadlift. The difference is the speed. You're snapping the hips forward to create the momentum to swing the kettlebell. So you notice the knees don't go too far forward. At the bottom, you notice that my bum is above my knee height. I have a nice neutral spine. And I also like to tilt the head down so I'm not creating any shear force through the back of the neck. Now you want to watch if it's too heavy, that it's not rounding you over in the back, because this is going to put a lot more stress throughout your spine. You also want to make sure you're not performing more of a squatting motion, going down and up. As well, at the top, you want to make sure you're not hyperextending, so pushing your hips too far forward. You want to be just nice and tall. The kettlebell, you'll notice the bell is straight out from the handle. Now, a few variations I like. One is alternating arms. As well, you could just start off with one arm and do all your reps and then switch to the other arm. Now, with these, you're both resisting rotation, so you want to watch that your shoulders are parallel to the ground as you're tipping over and the kettlebell's not rotating you. Another one I like is kettlebell swings with a side step. So on this one, you perform all your side steps on one side, and then you go to the other side. You can also do an alternating side step as well. Another one I like is figure 8. So I'm doing a row at the top, and then I'm looping it between my legs. You just want to make sure that you're watching your knee tracking as you're bringing the kettlebell in through your legs. Now, my favorite way to do kettlebell swings is a kettlebell swing with a row. So at the top, every time you're performing a wide row. So you don't want to think about pulling the kettlebells into the row from the bottom. You want to think about swinging the kettlebell straight up, and then it's just a quick in out at the top.
So that was the kettlebell swings. So the biggest mistake I find people do when they do the kettlebell swing is they do more of a squatting motion than a deadlift motion. So they kind of do more of an up and down, and they load more into their quads rather than sticking the hips back and loading into the glutes. The tipping over and sticking the bum back is really what's going to generate the momentum to swing the kettlebell back and forth. Think about it. If I'm squatting up and down, how does that help me swing it forward? If I'm tipping back and forward, that helps me swing it forward. The other thing you want to keep in mind is the back. You want to have a nice neutral spine. I like using a heavy weight that you can feel pulling at you at the bottom so that you're working your core a lot. But if it's pulling you over and making you lose neutral spine, it's too heavy of a weight. The other thing is, where do you feel it all? If you're feeling it all in your lower back, that's no good either. Where you really want to be feeling it is through the glutes. Now, I showed you a few different advanced type kettlebell swings you can do as well. The one arm as well as the alternating one arm. What you want to keep in mind when you're doing the alternating arm ones is you want to keep your shoulders square to the front as you tip over. I find people have a tendency, the one arm they're holding the kettlebell in drops down and they rotate. Okay, on the one arm swings, you're trying to resist rotating in your torso. Hope you enjoyed. See you on the next episode of Exercise of the Week.